jewelry, you know, nowadays.
I know, right?
Lately, oh my God, the young guys are. I don't want the old guys.
We are live on air. Pardon me, I got to feed my dog one more piece of carrot.
Yeah, that's why we were laughing and talking about the thing that's happening this fall with McCartney and Dylan and the Stones and all of them. I said, you know, they're calling it Old Cella, you know.
You know, they'd be smart to do. I was talking to my friend last night, and we were talking about it because she'd love to go to that too. And I said, I can't afford that. You know, it's going to be a grand to get into that thing or more. But they'd be smart to live feed it and like the concert window thing.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah, and charge something reasonable. They could probably get $30-40 a piece, probably.
Sure, or if they did it on, I wouldn't be surprised if they did it on one of those music channels, like what is it, Access or whatever it is that they
One All Access.
That they do.
Yeah.
You know,
what's the one that everybody was going back and watching? Palladium? Is it still around?
Yeah, that's Palladium. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's still around too.
Hopefully they'll consider
that. How up I am on things.
Oh, they'll have to consider that. You know, the thing is I'm not. You know, it's a great lineup, but I've seen them all, and as much as I love Paul McCartney, I mean, I love Paul McCartney to death. Yeah. I can't. He really can't sing anymore.
Oh, really?
So, wow. Yeah, his voice is kind of live.
I think they all are, though. I mean, I'd say.
Oh, the Stones, forget it. Yeah. It's just amazing to go see that Keith Richards is still standing up.
Yeah, I think that's the whole draw because I would even say it about my absolute idol Bruce is that he doesn't sing as much as he used to.
But he still sounds pretty good, Bruce.
He still sounds good. I mean, he was never perfect to begin with, and he puts on a great show, but he's not what he used to be either. No. Don't tell the real Bruce. Don't tell the real diehard devoted. And I am one.
I'm gonna go tell my friend Maureen that. But
he's still good. I mean, the show is great, but.
Oh yeah, but he of course not. You know, but there's very few people that have gotten older that still sound good. I mean, I think Elton John sounds even better than he used to a lot of times. You know, he's gotten a resonance and a tone to his voice now. You know, and he sounds really good. There's Neil Diamond can't sing anymore.
That's
you know, and we saw the Stones, and the Stones were right on the verge. Dylan hasn't been able to sing for you. Well, Dylan the only time I ever thought Dylan. Now this comes from Dylan was best friends with my girlfriend's father, and you know he used to play Dylan all the time. And the only time I told Eric that I thought Dylan sounded really good was on the Lay Lady Lay album. You know, his voice was totally different, and Eric said, "Well, that's because he quit smoking." At that point, and I was like, no wonder. The voice was deep, and it wasn't that nasal quality. He writes brilliant music, but he can't sing.
And that's the thing, he writes the music, but
he writes brilliant music, but he can't sing. Neil Young can't sing that well anymore either. You know, he was an acquired taste.
Yeah, but he's also a writer. You know, he's a good writer.
Yeah, he's a very good writer. I liked, the original, like, back in the beginning with After the Gold Rush and the one with Cinnamon Girl on it.
Yeah,
the old Neil Young stuff. The only one that really can...
Guys, we're live on...
Yeah, I know. We need to go...
We're talking about old singers, so okay, all right.
We're live on YouTube and we're live in the room, or in the Facebook feed, so...
Okay, we're off the music now. You can edit it.
Well, I don't edit these things. They just go up.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
because not that many people go back and watch. I mean, I think there's maybe one. I see that they some videos get like 8 or 10 views, which is fine.
Yeah.
We're basically doing this for ourselves. I mean, that's what I'm doing. It's just for us.
Yeah. No, I wanted national fucking recognition, man.
Well, you're in the wrong place, sweetheart.
Okay, so Angie and I watched this like 3 times together. Well, she got through I think all 3 times. I think I got 2 3/4. So
Yeah,
Fall asleep.
we wanted to. I was so nuts about wanting to watch. So I took my computer and
Yep.
an HDMI cable and hooked my computer up to the big screen TV in our room
yep.
and
We
streamed
bought
it.
the cable too, but in our hotel the TV was hardwired to not allow us to use the input.
Ugh.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's
was so
so
pissed. I
bad.
was so pissed.
Oh, that sucks.
Well, I don't know. Ours was doing something funky to where it kept, at first, for like the 3 or 4 times, it would not stay on the alternate input. It kept switching back to the Hilton, channel provided stuff. But then each time that we watched it, I don't know if it was just because it got tired of us flipping it back. After about the 3rd or 4th time we flipped it back to the alternate input, it stayed.
Yeah.
Oh,
It was
Our
some magic
the
button.
button didn't even work. It was just totally disabled. And I called even the front, to ask for help, and they're like, "Oh no, sorry, we have that on purpose, so that nobody can do that."
Stuff because they're trying to circumvent the future, basically.
Well, they want you to order movies through their service,
Right.
not bring your own stuff.
Content.
Where were you at, Corey? The Metro?
We were at the Hyatt.
The Hyatt? The Grand Hyatt?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you streaming your own content also puts burden on their Wi-Fi too, so maybe that might be part of it.
Well, we had the fast Wi-Fi. I mean, we
Yeah.
upgraded to the faster Wi-Fi, which you're supposed to be able to do that. That's for, business travelers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't have any trouble streaming on the laptop. It just they wouldn't let us hook it up to the TV.
Yeah, well, we got around that, so that was good.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering if ours was going to let us, but we were able to. I mean, we were able to hook it and finally get it to show, and we did. We watched it.
Yep.
We watched it 3 times, then I watched it partially again, sitting at the concert Saturday night.
You watched it at the concert?
I was
after the show. After the show. Not while Dave was on. Hi, Dave.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah, excuse me. Outlander's on now. You've gone into my Outlander time. So.
Well, because I kind of like to watch the live feed of the tweet streams that go out.
Yeah, I do too. Yeah.
So I kind of sat down because I was waiting for people who were downstairs at the meet and greet.
Yep.
And just kind of sat and watched. And first I was just watching the Twitter feed, and then I was like, oh, fuck it, I'm going to watch the show again. So I clicked over and
I watched.
About at least a quarter of it.
I would say, well, we were able to watch the concert, so most of it.
Yeah.
And then I just switched over to the White House Correspondents' Dinner because I wanted to see that. So I didn't even watch Saturday night. I'd watched the show, but I didn't even watch it Saturday night.
Yeah.
I have I have a bruise where I've kicked myself in the ass so many times that the next morning I found out that Tom Hiddleston was a mile away from us, and I was just like, oh no, kid.
Are you watching that? Are you watching the Night
Manager? Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. I love it.
Yeah,
I love you, Lori, too.
I watched the first 2 real quick, and then last night I think the BBC ran it as a test. So they're on 3 tonight. I guess episode 3 is tonight. So.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about Outlander because we got about 30 minutes before Corey turns into a pumpkin.
Okay.
All right, Outlander. That's right.
Yep.
So this was Tony Graffia's first episode, and as Corey posted in the thread, can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, your mouth is moving and your voice is coming at a different time.
Yeah, I know. It's probably because I've got something else.
There we go.
Tony.
Okay.
You froze.
You froze. Angie, that's a very attractive pose, right?
That wasn't your best pose to freeze on.
Yeah. We got fish lips with the tongue poking out. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, she's back at least.
Yeah. Okay.
Hang on.
Yeah.
I opened up a YouTube page and it screwed up my feed here. Okay. Well, I still don't see me.
I see you.
Yeah, when you speak, you come up.
Well, oh, there I am.
Yeah.
Well, for some reason, there I am. My picture was not showing when I was talking. So yes, Toni Graffia was not a book reader. She's read them now, but she was not a book fan. And when somebody pointed out, I think I was listening to the TSAT's podcast podcast, that when you go back and look at the episode she's written, she wrote Rent, she wrote The Watch. Both Rent and The Watch
have nothing. Yeah,
are
different.
ones that have a lot of new content.
Right.
You know, she's not one of those who is really, really dedicated and faithful to the book. And a lot of people didn't like Rent, or they were, bored by Rent, but I loved The Watch.
Yeah, no.
But they said when you look at it, this one is almost all of this material that she put in this episode is from the book or the previous book.
Right.
It's not necessarily in this same part of the book, in the same story, but it's all pulled from different areas and different places.
Even the dialogue, that was great.
Yeah, and Meryl Davis actually was the one who went to her and asked her to please put in the Fortress Blade of Grass scene.
I really missed that last season, so I was so happy to see
that.
When
I realized what they did, that whole thing
significant.
It couldn't have gone last season because of the fact of
he wasn't there.
The context. Yeah, he wasn't there yet.
Yep.
Right, but it's very significant, and yes, it's one of my favorite things in that whole storyline that it relates to. Yep. That was the best part, and I'm glad that they added that.
Yeah.
Or kept it,
Yeah. Well, and they really condensed and streamlined a lot of stuff about the cult, and I wasn't sure they were going to do the whole Louise and Charlie thing, but they did. So that's been going on, behind the scenes that nobody knew about until this week, because we open up, and I felt like this episode really answered a lot of the complaints people were having about the previous episodes, the fact that they didn't talk about the pregnancy, they didn't show the pregnancy, all of this stuff that people were saying that they weren't doing. I think when I look at it now, I feel like a lot of it was purposeful. Them not talking about the pregnancy and acknowledging the pregnancy was a purposeful act to get to this point.
Yeah.
Because if they'd been talking
about it either.
If they'd been talking about it all along, there wouldn't have been as much fodder for Claire's blow up at the thigh bite scene.
Yeah.
But opening, and somebody asked about that chess library where they play chess, and that actually is an actual location. That's a library in Prague.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's an existing place in Prague.
That's going to be overrun. It's going to be overrun by visitors.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
But it's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
So they opened up with them playing chess and the whole poisoning thing, and they cut a little bit there because there were the court ladies talking about.
Yeah, that sounded funny.
Jamie, and I think there was stuff like that in the book.
Yes, there are always women who are fawning over Jamie.
Yeah, there were even women who at the dinner party in the book who almost fainted because he leapt over a stair rail to get upstairs, because that whole thing at the dinner party took place in a different location in the house.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact quote of what they said. It was something like, "I'd let him castle my queen side" or something.
Yeah.
When you're playing chess.
Yeah, if you haven't read the script, the link to the script is posted in the Facebook feed. And it's got little thought bubbles or comment bubbles out to the side of certain areas where Toni Graffia has gone in and actually done some commenting on certain sections of the script, the little things that got cut, because the whole thing that they shot is on there.
Yeah.
So
it's always interesting to see what they cut.
Yeah.
For me, anyway.
Yeah, she wrote long. I was surprised that she wrote long. And Ann Kenny last week, I didn't think there was much cut last week when I read the script. I mean, just a line here or there got cut. But for the most part, what she wrote and they shot made it into the show. So, but yeah, so we ended up with the poisoning thing, which took place at a slightly different area in the book because it was at a dinner party, actually, or some kind of a big party, because they were actually staying at Versailles because she got sick after they'd gone to bed that night.
Right.
She woke up because she's having the snake dreams.
Yep.
The writhing serpent dreams.
Yep.
So, and then they ended up cutting to her and Jamie back at their place because he ended up taking her home, which they didn't show that scene, him saying that I'm going to just take her home.
Yeah.
That
out.
But then we got the scene where she finally broke down and told him about Blackjack,
Yep.
which, thank God, that's out of the way.
Yes.
Yeah, I was surprised at the reaction. I was like, what?
Yeah. Me too.
I thought it was going to be a fight, and it wasn't. So good for them to do it that way.
Yeah, for not giving us this false conflict.
Yeah, that ultimately, was not a fake out. So.
Because it would have undercut the big conflict that was coming up later.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
So you had to, you kind of had to have that, and that was the thing, because that was different from the book, that whole thing, how he found out, because they
They found out together when they found
out. They ran into him, didn't they? Wasn't that the first time that they knew that Blackjack was alive, when they ran into him at the Duke's house?
Yeah, the Duke. Right. Correct. So, yeah, for them throwing that little thinger there that she knew before Jamie, and then I thought, that's not going to work out well. So I'm glad that they wrote it the way they did.
Yeah, and I was actually fine with that kind of change and them kind of, because they'll bring him in later, which we know he's coming.
Yeah.
Probably next week.
I think it's next week. It looked like next week.
Next week on Time and Resurrections?
Yeah, I think so, because
it looked like it from the preview.
Yeah, that's what you or something. Yeah, somebody sees somebody and makes a comment.
And the whole "you owe me a life."
Yeah. So
our favorite part.
Yeah. Yes, we'll see what they do with it, because it's an Ann Kenny script.
That's true. She'll do good with it, I think.
So yeah, Ann Kenny next week. So yeah, and then I loved the little byplay between Claire and Murtaugh. The next morning.
Oh, yeah.
Jamie's in a cherry moon. She says, "Yes, I told him about Jack Randall." What you were so worried about.
Oh, we cracked up with that. That was hysterical.
Yeah, well, and I listened to Ron's podcast. I listened to all 3 episodes that I hadn't heard before, coming home yesterday. And he said he flatly refused to cut that scene. He loved that little scene in there, and even though they were long, that was something he knew was not going to get cut, because it was one of his favorite little scenes in there.
Cool.
So there are times when times when his instincts are really good, and sometimes his instincts are kind of like, eh. Well, he's the man who was going to cut I said I was a virgin, not a monk thing.
I know, I just can't even.
Yeah.
So, well, I love the fact that, I think Meryl came back when they were talking about that whole little fight they were having. Meryl, she said something about, you don't understand something, and he piped up and said, "No, what you said was you don't understand women." And I was kind of like, "Oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Okay." So yeah, and then, Christ, what's next? Claire goes to see Mr. Raymond because she, is pretty sure he's the one who sold the bitter cascara.
Yeah, and she kind of, I will give them credit for how they staged. Speaking of going back to the bitter cascara thing, the Comte is so evil that he's just kind of lurking in the background while she's struggling and stuff. So I thought that was well done.
Yeah, well, everything is suggesting. I mean, it's all suggestions. There's no hard and fast evidence or proof that he had anything to do with it. It's just having him in the area and being his normal,
smarmy self. Yep.
Yeah, glowering.
Because doesn't he even say to Jamie, "You can't prove it"? Didn't she say it that night, or was that?
It was that night when after she,
when she was in bed recovering.
Yeah, I think she said, "I'd be right there supporting you, but we have no proof."
Yep.
Yeah. Prove it,
and it could derail what we're trying to do, causing a scandal and derail what we're trying to do here.
Yeah, right. So yeah, so now she's at Raymond's, Master Raymond's.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the whole point of why all of a sudden they can't be seen in the front room talking. They have to go hide. I didn't get the purpose of that.
Because she said that there's people watching.
The gendarmes.
The gendarmes are watching, and they said that because the king isn't very fond of the occult arts or something like that.
Yeah, but I wasn't sure why that him talking to Claire.
Yeah, why was that different? Just him doing business. I mean, that's what I don't understand. I just thought that was kind of a weird thing they threw in there.
Yeah, it was a strange segue to get her back, excuse me, into the secret room.
Yeah, I mean, I know it was for blocking to get her into that room, but she's been in that shop twice before, and it was not an issue that he was doing business. So that's why I thought that was kind of weird, but
a little awkward.
Yeah, it kind of I'm sure it pays off later. It's just was kind of a weird situation.
Yeah, well, the thing that'll pay off later is the sleight of hand thing that Raymond does with
That's true.
the sheep's knuckles.
Right. That was good. That was a good way to set that up, too.
So. And doing it because they did that, but the whole Frank thing, her suddenly being worried about Frank.
I know.
I was just kind of like, you weren't worried about him before, and now all of a sudden, I mean, I'm not sure they're playing that as heavy as they need to pay off with her the coming next week.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's been kind of a weird, convoluted thought process on.
Yeah, I mean, they've had to cut and streamline so much that they almost streamlined that right out. So we'll see how they do it next week, because maybe the whole episode is going to be her, making comments and voiceovers. At least they're doing a few fewer voiceovers, which I'm okay with.
Right.
I'd rather see it rather than hear it.
Right.
Agree.
Most of the time, there's every once in a while that I have felt like we needed some of her inner thought process that they couldn't get out in conversation. So yeah, we get the whole foreshadowing that you will see him again, which we already knew she was going to see him again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that was to set it up that she's surprised to hear that he rolled those bones and thought for sure she'd see this person again, thinking that where would that come from? Because she at that point doesn't think she's going to ever see Frank again. So.
Right, I know, but I mean, it's not like it's a nod to the audience to warn us. It's not foreshadowing for us.
No, but it just was interesting, just in the action of him telling her that. Plus, it also informs that character more. Raymond, it informs him a little more who he is, I think.
Yeah, well, we need something, and the whole comment. I don't know if you all noticed the comment when he talked about being fascinated by things not of this time.
Of this. That was a really good.
Yeah.
She was holding the prehistoric skull and looking at it, and he's looking at her with that comment.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's fairly subtle, and I kind of like that, because Raymond is one of those characters that even after reading all of the novellas, I'm still kind of like, what is he?
Yeah. I think, isn't she going to do something on him? I think she is. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm not.
Live long enough to do all these books she wants to do.
Well, I just thought
she's doing Jamie and Claire's parents.
Right.
She's doing a prequel for them. She's doing...
Not doing one for Raymond? That's just the whole wishful thinking, because that is...
I don't know. I know there's another one that she was talking about doing.
So she's doing one with Hal and his wife.
Oh, that's right, which I actually would like to read that.
Yeah, there's an intrigue there that would be interesting.
I mean, you get some of that. Hal tells John some of that in one of the Lord John books.
Right.
It was really kind of cool, because, there's a whole sex on a bearskin rug before,
That's right. Yeah.
Before they were ever married, and she was a spy.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting little intrigue. Hey, whatever. If it comes to her, write it down.
Yeah. Well, and one of those blogs, one of those recapper blogs when she was talking about Diana, it was like, focus, book 9, focus, Right. Book
I'd
9.
like her to just finish this series, then worry about all these novellas, just so we have a clean ending.
And I kind of get it from the artistic standpoint for her, because as it comes to her, it sounds like that's what she's writing down. Because it sounds like she writes stuff down as it comes to her, and then she stitches it together. I think she's actually said that.
Yeah.
So if stuff's coming to her and it creates a story, whatever. She's the creator. It's her deal.
I just don't want her to die before we have the last book.
Die, please.
Don't die.
I'll die before we get the last book.
Well, yeah, we all might.
I'm closer. I'm closer.
So then we got from there. She got the crystal.
Right, he gave her the crystal.
Which the crystal is supposed to be dipped.
Right.
Which I don't know that he ever said that. He just said
No, he didn't say anything about that.
Are you sure?
I think in the book it's supposed to be dipped. I don't think it's just if it's in the vicinity of poison.
I think in the book you're going to find that it's actually just in the vicinity in a future scene, because that's how she knows that something's going to go down in a future scene, because she sees her crystal has changed color.
Yeah, maybe.
Think about
it. I thought somewhere in the book when he was giving her that crystal. I'll go back and look in the book.
We'll look at
I know the scene you're talking about, Phyllis.
Look
Later
at that.
on in the Star Chamber thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get into the spoiler, but I think, it just turns color.
So, so now she's got that crystal, and we go back.
The house?
What came next?
That wasn't the fight, the bed?
Is next the fight in bed with the bite marks?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think so.
It's back to him coming in after she's in bed, I think.
Yeah.
I just watched it, but then I turned around and started watching Pirates of the Caribbean, so. Let's talk about Orlando.
That poor... I was so upset when he got arrested for drugs and domestic abuse. I was just kind of like, what?
What?
Oh.
I didn't even know that, so there you go. Never mind, let's not talk about Orlando.
Yeah, a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
That was very
What? I didn't even hear that. He got what?
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
Orlando
Bloom.
He did?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Google...
You and I were on the same planet there, Corey, because I didn't hear anything about it.
Yeah, I think it popped up on my Facebook feed because I follow the Legolas Facebook group, and
because I never even saw it on my chatter. I follow like a chat.
Domestic abuse with who?
Yeah, didn't he leave his wife? Weren't they split up?
Oh, they've been divorced.
He was for a while.
Yeah, he was.
I think it was a setup. It couldn't have been that. Anyway, never mind. We're not talking about Orlando.
No.
I told my mother. Didn't I tell you, Jerry, that I've developed adult ADHD?
Yeah, you told me that. Yeah, I told you that it happens once you hit 50.
Yeah, I'm not there yet.
You're close. You're in the vicinity. You're in breathing space of 50. So yeah, it starts to happen.
So yeah, we get the scene, and there, he's about to strip off, and I'm thinking, oh great, we're actually going to get a full naked Jamie, and then no.
All we get is ass. It's always ass,
Which is fine. I mean, it's fine. It's a fine ass.
It is fine.
It is fine. Yeah, it's very fine.
But I don't know how they did some interesting angles and cutting to make sure we didn't see anything else.
I know.
Yeah.
Because I thought that shirt had gone all the way up.
Yep.
To do some exposing, but I actually, as much as I worried about this scene, I actually loved him in this scene.
It was funny.
Because he just kept digging himself deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
He laughed the whole time, like, oh, don't say that.
That's what we were doing, too.
He was so excited he was so excited about being excited, and then when he realized she was pissed, he's like, oh, no, well, wait, no, wait.
Yeah, it was good. They handled it well.
So, yeah, I was nervous about them doing it, and I love the way he delivered that whole, when he said something about you're too refined or late or something about not knowing what soixante-neuf is.
Soixante-neuf is, yeah.
about literally kicked him out of bed. I love the whole thing. Said, oh, well, she really only wanted the six. The 9 could go hang.
Yeah,
that was cute. Yeah, another thing from the book that I thought was a good little bit. So
yeah, so it's they handled it well, and that whole kind of blow up. I was very happy to actually kind of get that whole her saying we haven't even talked about the baby, so that they could bring that out of the open and air out the grievances that have been kind of simmering and building underneath.
Yes.
So that we can get them both on the same page again.
Yeah.
So, and getting the Blade of Grass speech here.
Right.
I was so happy when I started to hear that whole speech. I was like, oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Because we never got the whole one where he talked about being the walk up the hill to Craignadoon. He was telling her after about.
Yeah, he hoped that he could let her go.
Yeah.
The strength to let her go.
Yeah, so I mean, I missed that one hugely in the first season. I was gonna be really, really, really upset if we didn't get that one and I knew it was not right for last season because of the way they played the whole Abby thing.
Right.
That whole compressed timeline and not having all that time to heal and all that. So it didn't fit there.
Right.
But when I realized what they were doing this season with his recovery, I'm like, well, they may get there. They may be able to use that this season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad that they did too. I'm glad that they put it in there pretty much.
God bless Meryl Davis. Thank God.
What would this show be if she wasn't part of it? Because she saved a lot of things, I think.
Yeah. I think she's one of those who said, you have to do this, you have to do that.
Yep.
Right.
So her and Diana.
Yeah, Diana too, because Diana's lived with it for years. She knows what fans are expecting or would like to see best.
Yeah, well, hearing how she changed the first written sex scene, I would have blown a gasket if they had left that whole first sexual encounter in this season the way that it was written.
Oh, with her pulling on his dick and be like, come on, you have an erection, what's your problem?
Yeah. That was written by a man.
Obviously.
So yeah, and then Jamie saying, once they get through there and him going off into the daybed and her coming back. And that whole daybed, the reason that thing was so blue is it was supposed to represent it being almost full pitch dark in there once she closed those curtains behind them.
Okay. So
that whole line of come find me, come find us was because they were basically not seeing each other. It was all done by feel. So, which, I can...
I haven't seen it anywhere, but as you're saying this, could this represent the cave, maybe? Just a thought.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just grabbing at straws because everybody wanted the cave scene.
Well, and I'm fine with not having gotten the grotto.
But if they're in a dark space, I don't know. I just think maybe.
It made me think of it at that time, it wasn't in the cave, but he was recovering and she climbed into his cot. It was a few weeks, and that's one of the first times I think they had sex.
He climbed into hers, didn't he? Because he was out in the hallway naked and climbed in.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of wasn't there one when she climbed in, though, or is that didn't happen?
Well, I remember one where he climbed into bed with her.
Okay.
She was still sleeping in the cell, in the monk's cell by herself, and he was kind of walking the hallways and still wasn't wearing anything because of his back, and ended up climbing in and being, because he was kind of frozen, and she was kind of like, whoo, and he ended up warming up.
I'm trying to think too, because it sounds. I can know what you mean, Corey. There's something else, but not sure what it was. So maybe it's a future thing. Anyway.
I don't know. But yeah, so we got that. We finally got them back together, and we got the ending of that Blade of Grass speech.
Right.
With the whole "you built me a little lean-to" and "keep out the rain."
And that's slightly changed because he in the book he said I built it, so that they made it her effort too. I think that was good.
Because she came to him.
Yeah. I think that they spun that really good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm totally okay with the way that this came out, and them together again is thank God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, and then getting the whole Charlie over the rooftops and in through the window with the monkey bite.
Yeah, that's funny.
So.
And he just sits down and expects, oh, you'll tend to me and you'll bring me a
whiskey. Yeah.
Okay. Your Highness.
Yeah.
Brought into their house. That was good. That was really good.
That's good.
Sorry, I just need to make sure. There were reports somewhere of seeing bobcat and bear in our area.
Oh, no.
So, yeah. I'm only hearing the dogs. I'm just making sure I'm not hearing anything else out there.
Yeah.
Are they out in the yard?
Like deer and possum and raccoon and everything else that's moving around out there. So yeah, he comes in the room and we find out. This is where we find out about he and Louise.
Right. They figured that out.
Because we know what, we skipped over the scene with
Louise and the baby.
Louise and Mary and Claire with the cuckoo clock, and then Louise asking for Claire's help.
Yeah, help with being pregnant, right.
So, and I saw I was listening to the TSATS podcast, and they were not really, they thought that this was out of character for Louise to be unsure and ask for help, and they were like, the way they've written her, she would have been able to figure this out on her own.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I kind of agreed with them on that.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I keep wondering if it's maybe the fact that she's been this frivolous, flighty, do whatever she wants. It could be the very first time she's ever had consequences.
Mm-hmm.
Possible.
For, doing what she wants, and her suddenly being like, oh.
But is she actually, when she tells Claire she's pregnant, is she actually at a loss about what to do, or just she needs the help to do it?
That's what she's saying. Can you help me? She's made the decision.
Yeah, so I think she knew she just needed someone to help her with it. So, which is what she would have done if she didn't know Claire. Wouldn't she find another woman that knows how to do that?
I felt that she would have already had those contacts, and they also thought she probably already would have been pregnant before.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I didn't. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't have a problem with it because the more you think about it, it's like, well, could be the first time this has happened to her. So now she's trying to figure out. She knows that she hasn't slept with her husband in months. Which once I saw her husband, I was like, why not?
What's her problem? I'm like, just go.
Yeah.
The way he was written in the book, I was thinking he was much older.
Yeah. They made everyone much younger and better looking than they should have.
I would rather sleep with him than Charles.
Exactly.
Charles is a pansy, man. I just like.
Could he maybe not? Maybe he's married her because he had to, and not because he would have chosen a woman, maybe. And so maybe it's one of those kind of marriages. You never know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Those marriages still produced heirs, because that was the whole thing, was producing an heir.
That he wasn't all that interested in her sexually at all. I mean, all those men all kind of have a little bit of an effeminate look anyway, with all the crap, to me.
No.
They're wearing.
They were a lot of womanizers back then, man.
Yeah.
Big time.
So I don't know.
No matter how effeminate they looked. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm not saying that they are. I'm just saying that maybe it was just a deal where he was forced to be married. But then this is going off unless they actually touch on that. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So anyway, it's, we got that, and I was like, okay, so this is for me, Claire is the first true female friend Louise has ever had.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
That's the way I see that. It's the first female person that Louise probably thought she could actually trust not to take this information and use it against her.
Right.
Well, sure, because court intrigue was always, especially she's having an affair with the prince, and you couldn't trust any other woman back then. They were nice to your face and stab you in the back. Not that it's any different nowadays, but back then it was really brutal in the hierarchy. So yeah, she probably looks at Claire as being that.
So, yeah, and it's one of those things where you might think that she could send a servant to get her what she needs, but then the servants would probably all be employed by her husband.
Yep.
Maybe the servants are more loyal to her husband, and so like I said, I was okay with her kind of coming back and saying, can you help me take care of this? And then of course Claire coming in and saying, what do you want to do, and getting her to kind of change her mind and convince her husband that it's his. So anyway, we get back to them finding out that the father of her baby is actually Charles, and they've been having an affair, and now they've had a falling out. Sorry, I've got Royal Score coming up over on the side.
Okay.
So, and after they kind of take care of Charles and get him settled, then they have the whole bright idea to have the dinner party.
Right.
Don't they?
Yeah. Yes. Can I add a very shallow, very shallow thing?
Sure.
Is that I think that Sam's hair right now is perfect. In that scene, they don't need to let it get any longer, and they don't need to cut it any shorter. I think it works just perfectly like it did in that scene.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's kind of bouncing all over the place.
Yeah, no, but it's right length, and I was looking at that going, they don't need to let it grow any longer, and they don't need to, try to do anything else with it. Just keep it at that length. He'd probably be happy with that too, because. Yeah.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, there are continuity issues this season.
Yeah.
I mean, his hair we're having a big problem with maintaining the continuity of his hair length.
Yes.
Well, but he pulled it back
from scene to scene, for God's sake. And even within the scene, wasn't it the second episode?
Yeah.
The second episode where suddenly his hair went from being the long this, and suddenly it was like twing.
But that's because they added that scene later or something. I remember reading something about that.
Yeah, it was like.
Yeah, but there's extensions. Why can't they? If there's something happened with the hair, I'd like to see the hair get a little longer. I'd like to see the hair get a little longer.
A little longer?
Yeah, a little longer. Yeah, I think so. Period-wise, and the way I feel it from my reading the book, I would like to see the hair a little bit longer.
Well, except they're not going to do the whole chop it off thing from the book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, here in like 2 episodes, if they were following the book, he would be cutting it off.
Right.
To keep it out of his face.
Yeah.
So, and they're not doing that.
From
what I've seen, I never saw a dramatic.
Me neither.
Change.
Well, you see stuff for the future stuff. His hair is the same length. So
yeah.
He doesn't cut it.
So anyway, they've decided to do this whole dinner party, and then we get that time jump. Basically saying 1 week later.
Yeah. Thank goodness for the subtitles. Huh?
Yeah. So, and Claire going off to do the armory, the armory explosion scene where she's gonna be at the hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jamie sending Murtaugh and Fergus
to go with her.
Yeah, and then we get the whole we get that Murtaugh Fergus convo.
Yeah. That's
Hello.
cute.
Which was super cute.
Yeah.
And then Mary Hawkins comes out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's kind of weird that they never really set that up.
They never built that up. All we got was a little comment from Jamie when Silas Hawkins came in. He was meeting everybody, and him saying, "My wife's very fond of the lass."
Yeah.
Which.
Yeah.
Right.
We haven't seen anything about them building their friendship.
No, all we see is the little bits and pieces of her when she's with Louise. We've never seen Claire and Mary without Louise.
Nope.
Right.
So suddenly having her, and the fact, because they changed how Claire got to the hospital.
Right. They condensed a bunch of stuff up there, yeah.
Well, they used Raymond to get Claire into the hospital rather than her being part of the group of,
women,
ladies who were going to volunteer at the hospital, which, Mary Hawkins was part of that. This is in the book.
Yeah, from the book.
I think maybe that was a little slip up where they didn't realize that they had cut that, and so her presence doesn't make as much sense as it did from book storyline. So then we get the whole screaming and the nerve block, and Monsieur Flores. This is where we get the first. This is where we actually get the hanged man's grease.
Yeah, they kind of rolled that forward. We may not see Flores again because that's a whole different hospital thing, you know.
Well, that's the hanged man's grease actually came when Jamie pulled a hammy. David Fergus at the King's stables. Right.
In the future.
So I don't know if we'll see Monsieur Foray again. I mean, we saw him in the book, but I don't know if we'll see him here in the show because I don't know if they'll do that whole thing.
They might, because he does give them valuable information. So.
Yeah, they just are condensing stuff so much that I just don't know that we're going to get a lot of that really detailed subplot stuff that was going on.
Yeah, we lost a couple episodes this year, so I don't know if we're going to get as much, you know.
Well, we actually didn't lose a couple episodes. It's still longer than most of the Star's orders, because I think most of the Star's series get maybe 10 or 11 episodes.
Yeah, but didn't we have, what did we have last year?
16, we had 16 last year, which was huge. That's longer than any other pay-per-view, you know, premium channels, because at the most, I think Shameless has ever gotten 12.
Yeah.
Game of
Thrones gets 10.
Yeah, they get 10 a season. And they're going to cut those down, too.
So, and they did the same thing with, like, Newsroom. Newsroom got, 10 episodes the first 2 seasons, then, 8 episodes the final season, or something like that?
Was it even 8? I thought it was, 6.
Maybe it was 6.
Yeah. It was, half a season.
But anyway, so we're actually still getting more than most of the
average amount
on the premium movie channels. Okay, and this was a much more dense book, but cutting out a lot of the intrigue and politics and meandering, as TSAT says, there's a lot of meandering in Paris.
Right, in the book.
You know, like the way Diana writes, they're a little scene here and a little scene there, and then another scene over here, and somehow they kind of loosely connect, but aren't immensely necessary to get to the final.
Yeah, it's more like a big jigsaw puzzle kind of thing.
So yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can lose, which we have done. So anyway, so we get to the dinner party. There are people coming in. The Duke comes in first. You know, the Duke wants to spend as much time with Jamie as possible. Much time with Jamie by himself, with no other people.
We understand. We can relate.
And this is where we also get Charles, we get Louise, and Louise's husband Jules, which I was like, when I saw him, I was like, oh.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we get the Duke having invited the Comte Saint-Germain, and it was like, you jack.
You had room. You got room. Just add a couple seats.
So, and his wife, which was hilarious. I was listening, I think it was the podcast that Tony was talking about, the way she wrote him bringing his wife, and Diana gave them a note and said, the Count's not married. And Tony says, oh, yes, he is. There's a line in the book when they talk about his wife. And Diana was like, oh, I forgot. I forgot the wife.
There you go.
So.
Clearly they aren't together in Diana's head.
Well,
but they're not.
She just was so inconsequential, it didn't matter.
Yeah, she was basically in one, I think she's basically maybe like in the dinner party scene, or maybe in another scene, or maybe another big group party scene. But I think the Count was with a mistress a time or two at some of those Versailles parties.
Probably.
So, anyway, and then we see the whole, well, we didn't talk about the title card being showing them actually pulling a pin out of the wheel, which I didn't realize what that was.
It took me like 3 watches to notice the birthmark on the guy's hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, some people are really slick, because I've watched it twice, and I knew to look for it, and I didn't look for it. So.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't think about it being a foreshadowing, showing us what was happening. I just thought it was a thing showing them trying to fix the wheel. It was like, oh, duh. It wasn't like this until like the second or third time.
I recognized that pin coming out right away.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, as soon as that broke down, I was like, yep, that's what is going on. Somebody was sabotaging that thing.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't notice it either. Other than just being some technical thing, I just thought it might have been a repair or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the way I read it the first time I watched it, was that they were trying to fix it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was like, oh, okay, then this was completely planned.
Right, because they did it in front of the hospital, obviously. They
Yeah.
did it
In the
before
daylight.
Yeah.
daylight. Yeah.
Yeah.
In the daylight, you could see shadows walking around the back. So
Yeah, and I'm thinking, where the hell was Murtaugh?
they were over there throwing
Throwing
daggers.
knives?
Yeah, they're throwing knives and onions.
Maybe it was when he was chatting with Fergus about, women.
So anyway, we end up with Mary and Claire having to walk home and him sending Fergus on ahead to let Jamie know they're going to be late.
Right.
Which, boy, did the sun go down fast.
Really, it did.
How far away were they?
Well, that's the whole. What were they, on the other side of Paris, for God's sake?
They might have been. I mean, I don't know how big Paris was back then, but that's not a small place if you're walking. I'm sure.
No, and they didn't even talk about trying to pick up a public carriage.
Yeah.
Which they did. I mean, that was one of the things in the book, because that's the reason they went kind of back in the alleyways, was to try and cut across to someplace they could try and get a carriage.
Right. Yeah, there was a whole backstory to all that anyway.
Yeah, about why they were where they were.
Yeah.
So, and then, we get the whole attack and Murtaugh getting the crap knocked out of him and poor Mary getting raped.
Yeah.
And the men suddenly realizing that this was La Dame Blanche, which...
And like, what is that?
I was kind of glad I was a book reader at that point, because I think I would have been lost.
I'm a little confused about what the hell?
Yeah. Well, something about her scared them. I mean, even not being a book reader, La Dame Blanche, I think most people know that's something white or lady white. So they're probably wondering, well, what is that? What does that mean? What made them think it's her, or what is that, and why did they think? Yeah, why are they associating with Claire?
Yeah.
We'll probably get that next week.
We're going to get that. I hope we get that explanation soon. Yeah.
We didn't know in the book either what it was, because it was done, and then she didn't know what it meant.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, we're still getting, Jamie getting notified that they're back and that there's, a problem, and him going out and them in the courtyard, and Alex following him out.
Yeah, I liked when they introduced Alex, and he just kind of looked at him. Jamie did, like, oh, because he knew he existed, but I think he probably was taken back by how much he resembles Jack.
Yeah.
So I thought that was well done.
Yeah, well, I'm actually glad they didn't play it that he looks exactly like him, because that's the way it was written.
Yeah, I am too. I'm glad that it's just enough of a resemblance and mannerisms. The actor is doing a real good job. So.
Yeah, well, he looks enough like him in the face and the shape and the eyes and all that kind of stuff that it's eerie.
It is eerie.
So we've got poor Mary upstairs, drugged out of her mind, with Alex waiting with her,
watching, keeping eye on her. Yeah.
Yeah, her 16-year-old who's just been raped, who's now taking poppy syrup, which can give her hallucinations, is being tended by a man.
Yeah.
Not sure who thought that up.
Me either.
The author.
Yeah. But logically, you would have thought that Claire could have said, no, let's go get Suzette or somebody to sit with her.
Women to sit here and keep an eye on her, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, we're downstairs. Claire's come in. They've gone to dinner, and they put the Count right next to Claire.
That was great. That was hysterical.
Yeah, they put Charles right across from Louise.
Yeah, and her husband.
Having to watch them, and we get this whole tense dinner party. The conversation. I actually loved this dinner party.
It was funny.
As far as Jamie and Claire being on the same page about the fact they're going to bring up the pregnancy to get Charles to, be himself.
It's cool.
But poor Louise was going to get, they were kind of sacrificing Louise on the altar of, saving Scotland.
Put her in a bad spot, definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, it's, I love this whole dinner party, and then they kept cutting to Mary kind of trying to wake up, and then what the hell with Alex tackling her? What the hell?
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
Poor girl. No wonder she's
She's
screaming.
like getting raped a second time, basically.
Yeah.
Tangled up together. Jeez, it was like ridiculous.
So and everybody running in from the other room, and
Strangely.
who punched Jamie? Who was it who punched Jamie?
Was it just an extra?
I thought it was one of her relations.
Wasn't her uncle,
Was it her uncle, or was it the Vicomte that she's supposedly?
No, the Vicomte had the dark wig on, right? He was the older guy with the dark wig. So I think it was the uncle with the bronzy colored jacket on.
Yeah. So anyway, then we just kind of get this almost Keystone Cops.
Yeah, I know. It was funny. It was
going
funny.
on
Murdoch comes in all disheveled, like, what the hell was that? What was he doing?
Yeah.
He was doing the maid.
He's pulling his stick out, to stab somebody.
And we get the Count pulling the Duke, getting ready to leave because he doesn't hang around for.
He wanted dessert, but oh well, he better go.
Yeah, and the Count telling one of his servants to notify the gendarme.
Yeah, and taking out the prince too.
Yeah.
Got him to leave too.
So I think we are going to get that whole liaison from hell between the two of them.
Yep.
Even if, because maybe the Duke will back. Well, I don't know if the Duke will coming back out anyway. So, but I think it was. I think you mentioned T-Sats talked about this being a really weird cut and break for the end of an episode. It was a little strange. Because it also cut to Fergus sneaking into the dinner table and helping himself to,
wine and food.
And
That was funny.
Well, like they said in the podcast, though, they were planning to end it with the scene of Fergus, or maybe that was in I can't remember if it was the podcast or the script.
Podcast.
She said that the network wanted them to have a more of a cliffhanger, so they switched it so it didn't end with Fergus. It ended with that, the fight.
Yeah.
So.
The weird called or going to be called. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and that was the episode. I kind of loved it the first time I watched it, and the more I watch it, I still love it. I still.
This one was a good one.
Yeah, I mean, there's still parts of it that I'll go back and rewatch again, and I mean, I'll watch it again a couple times probably before the Friday night.
Yeah.
I could work this weekend, so.
I think one of the things, like we've said, we're all book readers, so thank goodness, because we kind of know what they're setting up. But I think what you're going to find is maybe these next few episodes, or like last week's and this week's and maybe whatever, that they have to almost be watched together to understand how they relate to each other. Because when you start cutting them, and you're going, well, what was that about? Like La Dame Blanche or the crystal, and there's all this stuff being put in front of you that you're like, well, what should I be paying attention to?
Right.
And I mean, they did give you that shot of the birthmark on the hand, and so.
Well, they showed it to you twice, because if you go back and watch, you see it in the title card, and then you see it in that scene.
So they're giving you a lot of stuff, but some of it is smacking you right upside the head, and some of it maybe isn't right now, but you're going to go back later, and then if you watch it back again, you go, oh, okay, I see where that shows, now I know that that'll show up 2 shows from now. So in that respect, it's very intriguing.
Her books are like that too. I mean, when you go back and read them, and all of a sudden, so many things make more sense.
Oh yeah, more often you get the last book, and I'm in the last book going, where did I hear this before? And I'm flipping back through stuff, going, 3 books ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That she might have mentioned.
The last 3 books covered about a month.
Yeah.
She slowed down her timeline so much so she doesn't have to kill them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they're not old enough to kill off anyway, so.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm not looking forward to the end of this series, It's
going to have at least 2 more books beyond this next one, so.
No, there's at least 1 more book beyond the one she's writing now.
That's what she says right now, but I'll bet you she comes up with 2 more after 9.
Oh, God. No.
No.
10 is a nice number.
10's a nice round number.
Yeah.
So, anyway, anything we skipped over? Anything you guys want to bring up from the first 4 episodes so far that
You're doing a good job.
Yeah, I mean, shush. Oh, good Lord, sorry. My parents' dog is outside barking, and so they think they've got to be out there too. I mean, there have been comments about some technical inconsistencies and technical problems, that the continuity issues that I mentioned, some actual like compositing stuff that doesn't seem to be as good as last year. So I don't know. We'll just keep.
I don't notice a lot of that stuff. Sometimes
I don't notice that. I mean, I've noticed the time problem, the time stamp problem.
Yes, I did notice that.
Which I think is almost unforgivable.
I know. That's embarrassing.
From a production standpoint, yeah, it's hugely embarrassing. It's like, do you remember when David's, when This Loud Morning came out, and when you put the CD in, I think when you put it in a CD drive in a computer or something, that how it was digitally encoded was somebody else's album? Did anybody else notice that?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
I think I remember vaguely talking about that, but I don't remember what it said.
It was, I can't remember whose album it was, but because I was with Jerry. We were at, where we stayed, the Paramount?
Yep, that's where the concert was.
Yeah, and I think we stayed at the Paramount. And when I stuck it in, I think I stuck it in the computer, and when it came up, or maybe it was the digital download, something, when you pulled it up to look at the info, it came up as a different, it was encoded incorrectly.
Oh, wow, that's interesting.
That's bad.
So, and I remember us laughing about it, and somebody telling me that he was pissed.
Oh, of course. That shows that somebody didn't care enough to make sure that that was correct, some little technicality.
Yeah, and that was, that was Little American Idol winner thing. This is a huge multi-million-dollar production.
Right.
I can't imagine Stars was happy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Ron was pissed. Did Ron ever talk about it in any interviews or anything? I haven't seen anything from him.
Meryl is the only one who's addressed it, because they said nothing about it in any of the podcasts I've listened to.
Yeah, maybe they just don't want to draw too much attention to it.
Yeah.
I say that, and maybe they did. Maybe it was Maybe it was in the first podcast.
I didn't.
No, it would have been in the second one, because the problem happened in the second one.
Well, the first one too, but they didn't know about it till people brought it to mind, because the date was wrong in the first one.
Because somehow the date was wrong in the first one, and then I noticed when I was watching it sometime the second one, because suddenly it was 1744 again.
Ah, okay.
But then when I've gone back and watched it again, the timestamp in the second episode was saying 1745.
Huh.
So I was like, what the hell year is it? Which one was right? Which one was right? Which one was wrong?
Yeah. Okay.
Because I specifically remember looking at a timestamp and going, oh, it is 1744. Yeah. So I saw it somewhere to begin with. And I don't have Stars anymore. I mean, I'm not subscribed to Stars through my cable company. I only have the streaming services through Amazon and the Stars app.
Yeah. Maybe
yes, I'm subscribed in two places.
Do you think it's different on those two different services, or do you think the Stars app either way is getting the same?
I don't know. I know they said it was supposed to be corrected for the DVD and future
broadcast,
but maybe not on the app, not on the streaming.
Yeah, probably. The streaming is probably loaded at one point and just not messed with again.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, they'll fix it. They'll fix it in post.
Yeah.
For the DVD.
Yeah, buy the DVDs.
So next week is Untimely Resurrection.
Yeah, I think so.
That's the episode next week. So, and we can, I mean, even though we're book readers, we can kind of say that just kind of speaks to everybody now, because everybody knows that Blackjack is alive. That just kind of tells me that that's what we're going to get.
Yep.
Right.
Is that we've got to get the meeting of them, which we absolutely can, because if they end up trying to hunt down Alex Randall or Mary, sorry, I'm
Well, did Alex leave? Did we see Alex leave that room? I mean, I know Claire grabbed Mary and pulled her into the alcove there, out of the way of the fight, but where did Alex go? Did he leave, or was he still somewhere in that room?
I don't remember.
Yeah. I don't either.
I'll have to watch it.
I'll have to look for it. We'll have to watch it again and look for it, because I don't know if because I can't imagine he'd leave. He's just an employee. So he wouldn't leave until the Duke left. But would the Duke take him? Because he's kind of now in a scandal. So, I mean, I know what happened in the book, but in that scene, they really don't really say what happened to Alex.
Well, because nothing was resolved in that scene.
No,
Left that whole thing up in the air.
Right.
It's not like the fight was
over.
Stopped.
Yeah, that's true. It wasn't over.
So, yeah, it wasn't over.
I mean, people left.
Yeah, the Duke was getting out of there.
Cowards all left.
Saint Germain was leaving because he didn't want to be a part of it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, it was kind of left up. Everything was up in the air there.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean.
Yeah.
Somehow we're gonna run into Jack somewhere.
Yeah.
Another
outdoor scene. You said you noticed that she's outside.
Which I'm okay with. I mean, I'm really hoping we get something at the stables, because that's
a fun scene.
Yeah, it's a fun scene, and excuse me. Somehow she's outside in that brown flowered dress.
Yeah.
They're both outside in gardens somewhere.
Right. Yeah.
So, but that may just be gardens at Versailles.
Yeah. Huh. So we got a couple more weeks in France, huh? Oh,
have to have the stuff the duel.
So yeah, we're kind of in a spoiler zone. So anybody who doesn't want to be spoiled probably should stop watching. So I'm just going to look up and see what's.
Little pop-up spoilers.
Hang on. Do I have it? Did I save it? Come on. I didn't save it. Okay, hang on.
Spoiler. A piece of paper.
Okay. So, let's.
There it is.
Yeah, it's coming up. There we go. I'm just looking up to see the next episode is on the 7th, Mother's Day. The 7th? Mother's Day is the 8th, right?
Yeah, Mother's Day is a Sunday, so yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's gotta be on Saturday. Untimely Resurrection on May 7th. Trying to see if they're going to show us cast and crew in that one. IMDb's not quite updated.
Yeah, I saw something. Was it us talking about it or somewhere else about there's nothing scheduled after a certain date?
It didn't have air dates when I was looking the last time.
So was it going to be split? Was the season going to get split? That kind of thing.
Yeah, we still don't have an air date after May 28th.
Yeah.
So we're going to be in France until at least May 21st.
Okay.
Next week is Untimely Resurrections. May 14th is Best Laid Schemes. So I'm thinking that's probably the, I guess they're maybe going to do the whole Charles investing with the Count.
Yep.
Episode on the 21st is called Faith, and then the episode on the 28th is The Fox's Lair.
Okay.
That one's back in Scotland?
I'm wondering if The Fox's Lair is going to be the Star Chamber.
Ooh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it could be.
Because that happens after Faith, and that's how we get out of Scotland, isn't it? Yes, that's how we get out of Scotland. And
Okay.
that's Jamie's release, and they get out of Scotland because he has to leave.
Yep.
Right.
So, and then the next one is Je suis prêt,
Right.
which is probably going to be the most abbreviated Lollybrock episode ever.
Those actors are like, well, why am I keeping my schedule open?
Yeah, really.
Preston Pans is after that, then Vengeance is Mine, The Hail Mary, and Dragonfly and Amber. Vengeance is Mine is Diana's episode, because she wrote episode 11.
Yep.
So, I don't know. Maybe they just haven't, maybe IMDb just isn't updated
Yeah.
with dates, but they have all of the we're trying to see if they have, like, writers and... Yeah.
All right, I made it till 10:30. I'm gonna take off.
You did really well. I was shocked you were stuck around. So.
All right, see you guys next week.
All right, have a good week.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
Huh.
Fox's Lair is written by Ann Kinney.
Yeah.
So we get Tony Graffia wrote Faith.
Yeah.
And Metin Hussein is the director. Best Laid Matthew Roberts wrote Best Laid Schemes. Haven't been a real huge fan of Matthew Roberts' scripts. We'll see if it's better.
Yeah.
Oh no, Anne did not write the next one. Richard Cahan wrote the next one.
Who's that? Has he
I
written?
have no idea, unless that's somebody new.
Well, so who knows? We'll see. Keep our minds open.
Yeah. So, and Douglas McKinnon is the director.
Well, I mean, I give credit. They give people credit. They give a single name or two names credit for writing the script, but it's a group effort, and there are people that step up and say, hey, you might want to change this. I mean, people do have input. Other people. Beyond just who gets the credit for the script,
I mean, the individual writer, they break it in the room, talk about it, then the assigned writer goes off and writes the script, and then they bring it back.
Right. So there's a lot more input than just, here's my script and this is what we're shooting. You know, this is how I see this particular thing. So, yeah,
because they have to make sure that what's written relates to the episode before it and fits with the episode after it, so they kind of have to maintain that, try and maintain that continuity arc.
Yeah, they probably have some kind of a timeline and a series. You know, I'm sure that there's a lot of notes about
there's a big board. I've heard them talk about the big board where they've broken everything down.
Right.
So they storyboards.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know what kind of threads they have to keep tied and connect up and dots, and so.
Yeah, I guess Stephen Bear wrote Preston Pans.
I just don't see that big of a difference. I guess I'm just not that cognizant of how people have writing styles that make episodes that significantly different than the next one. I just figure it's whatever they had to put forward that week that makes it good or bad, whether or not I wanted to know it. Or I really wanted to see that versus something else, maybe. And being a book reader, you know.
Maybe they haven't said. This says Diana wrote the last episode.
Wow.
Oh, Diana, Tony, Ron, and Matt Roberts. So they must have all contributed.
Yeah. Oh.
So, all right. Well, we're at 9:35 my time. So, cool.
We're not really getting anywhere here.
I have time to eat something before it gets super late.
Yay.
So. All right, Jerry, we're going to sign off. Did we lose Jerry?
Well, her phone is on, but she may have zoned out. She must have went to sleep, poor thing.
Yeah.
All right.
So, yeah, we'll sign off the broadcast and stop that, and we'll see anybody who's watching next week. Yeah. We're going to have a week where we can't do it on a Monday because I've got to work, so I'll get that schedule. Seems like it's not next week, but the week after.
That's fine, because I won't be here. I have Jackson Brown.
There you go. Maybe it'll fall in the right week. So.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to stop this and see you guys next week.